Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone back for the afternoon of our Youth and Government activities. And we are about to witness the council meeting conducted by the Youth and Government City Council. And at this time, I will turn the meeting over to the council president for her to call the meeting to order.
This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. Clerk, will you take the roll?
Ramsey.
Here.
McLean.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Meanyard.
Here.
Watson.
Here.
We have a quorum. This meeting is now open for business. Councilwoman Watson will lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we will have the reading of the proclamations by Mayor Jackson.
Whereas this day, the 24th day of April 2012, I proclaim this day Jarvis Rawls Day in the city of Gadsden. This day is to recognize Jarvis Rawls, salesman for Ronnie Watkins Ford, for his dedication to service and support of the Gadsden City High School Titans. It is with community support from businesses like Ronnie Watkins Ford that make good schools better. Mr. Rawls, thanks for all you do. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mario Jackson, Mayor of the city of Gadsden, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, proclaim this day, April 24th, 2012, Jarvis Rawls Day in the city of Gadsden. The next proclamation. Whereas this 24th day of April 2012, I proclaim this day Honorary Military Service Day in the city of Gadsden. This day is to acknowledge all the men and women in Gadsden and Etowah County who have served or are currently serving to protect our nation. The city of Gadsden expresses sincere gratitude for your efforts at home and abroad. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mario Jackson, Mayor of the city of Gadsden, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, recognize and salute the armed forces of the United States. Whereas it's 24th day of April 2012, I proclaim this month School Resource Officers Month in the city of Gadsden. Gadsden City High School is blessed to have Officer Sylvia Wofford and Renza Avery of the Gadsden City Police Department on staff. We have the best school in the county with a safe school environment that is attributed to their teamwork and relationships with our administration, faculty, staff, and student body. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mario Jackson, Mayor of the city of Gadsden, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, proclaim this month of May School Resource Officers Month in the city of Gadsden. They can't be here today, so to accept their awards, Principal Keith Blackwell. On my last proclamation. Whereas 24th day of April 2012, I proclaim this day Gadsden City High School Support Staff Day in the city of Gadsden. This day is to recognize the hard work that our janitors and cafeteria workers do for the school daily. Our school is clean and well maintained. Although we may not always like what's on our lunch menu, we know that it is nutritious and made with love. So thank you for keeping our school tidy and preparing lunches that make our health a priority. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mario Jackson, Mayor of the city of Gadsden, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, proclaim this day, April 24th, Gadsden City High School Support Staff Day in the city of Gadsden.
Thank you, Mayor Jackson, for reading our proclamations. Now, is there any unfinished business?
None.
Now we have the reading of the ordinances, first by Councilman Menyard.
Youth Legislative Council of Gadsden.
high school juniors and seniors who are prospective future city leaders who comprise this committee. It would allow them to learn the legislative process at a local level. They would serve as a voice of their peers and give input into policies that are enacted by the council. They would travel throughout the state monthly to attend other city council meetings. This select group of youth would be chosen by the school sponsors and must meet certain academic and social requirements as deemed appropriate by the council. School elective credits would be earned toward graduation hours.
This ordinance is open for discussion.
I feel that this is a very good ordinance because it would bridge the gap between our older citizens and council members, between the youth of our city. And I also think it would have our youth more involved with our city, and that can always benefit the city of Gadsden.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. We need more of the youth to be heard on what we need in Gadsden to keep us coming back. After we go off to college, if they want us to come back to Gadsden, we should have, some opportunities and some things to say about it. Mayor?
Although it's written, I don't think that Councilman Minion stated how this will be paid for.
It would be at the expense of the city.
Is there any more discussion on this ordinance? Okay, now we have the reading of the next ordinance. Mandatory driving test and eye exam for citizens aged 65 and older. Senior citizens are well respected in our community. However, their driving habits can cause car accidents. To ensure their safety and others while driving, a mandatory road test and eye exam should be taken every 2 years. This should reduce the number of accidents and prevent those who fail the test from driving. Failure to honor the above guidelines is punishable as follows. First offense, $25 fine. Second offense, $50 fine. Third offense, 30-day suspension of driver's license. This ordinance is open for discussion.
Hey, hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean 65 and over? I'm 65 and over. You can't do that to me.
This order in this council meeting, we need order.
I'm 65 and over. Don't throw me out like that.
Would you like to come to the mic and
Y'all discriminating against us old folks. Don't do me like that.
what? Ms. Watson?
I feel if he feels that he shouldn't be done like that, he can still take the driving test. He should be able to pass it.
You should be.
But teenagers ought to be able to take it over too.
Yes, they should. Well, we are trying to focus on this ordinance first and then cover the young people. Did the audience want to say anything on this ordinance? I saw a hand. No.
How would they get around if they fail the test?
Ms. Watson?
Trolley. And it does run on weekends.
Ms. McLean, Councilwoman McLean.
Okay, but sometimes people aren't able to get to the trolley. I understand if their car is just like right outside, but everybody can't get to the trolley. And some of the older people's children and the grandchildren wouldn't want to be bothered with them. Not trying to be harsh, but they still have to have a way of getting around somehow. You can't, suspending their license is just, it's kind of wrong.
It is kind of harsh, but you have to think, the 65 is probably just to make sure that age is, that's the senior citizen legal age, I believe. And I guess, after that, if you pass your test and you keep passing them, there should be maybe, if you pass it twice after the 4 years, then you shouldn't have taken no more until maybe you get way, way older. But it's mostly for senior citizens 70 and older or 80 and older, not necessarily 65. It's just the legal senior citizen age. Ms. Watson.
He was.
How can the police chief enforce this law with the little manpower that he does have?
I'm not sure that the police chief is over this ordinance. I think it's the city council that has to decide on this ordinance.
Police chief is, people have to enforce the law.
Well, has to do with the driving range, though, and the eye test. This should be like,
But if they build it, how can they know if they build it or not?
they'll be there.
They'll drive, even though the test was fake.
I got it.
Miss, thank you, Councilman Mingott.
It should be the city of Gadsden who should send out a notice on this person's 65th birthday to note them that they have 30-some-odd days, 30 days to either comply with it, or they already have an automatic suspension of their license.
I see a hand.
But isn't it more teenagers that die for regular driving more than artificial?
Okay. We are focusing on this ordinance. We can later make a resolution for the young people, but right now, this is the ordinance that we're focusing on. I think it was Ms. McLean.
Hey, I think what she was saying, Candace was saying, like, how would we know if they were following the law or not, if we're going to have, like, police out there actually patrolling and actually watching, instead of just making sure they'll, follow the law, like, oh, they'll follow the law,
Ms. Watson, well, Councilwoman Watson.
On what someone in the audience was saying, and somebody on the council board, if you really have a complaint about teenagers, how about, you have a chance to speak on it, but right now, would you rather have someone old on the road driving, putting themselves and you in danger, or rather have them sitting in the house where they can be safe?
Well,
but you don't
hold on. Miss,
Can we close?
Councilwoman Ramsey.
Right now, we're just focusing on trying to keep our citizens safe because, as you get older, your senses tend to fail. And yes, young people, we're reckless too, but we're just trying to keep everybody safe.
Hand in the back.
How does the city attorney feel about this discrimination?
Thank you for that, but I give the permission of the city attorney to speak. Thank you.
I'm gonna remind you council folks, old folks vote.
Councilman Jones, did you have something to say?
Yes, I mean, I totally agree with this, but I also totally agree with everyone else because teenagers as well as middle-aged folk, they can't drive. They have their days where they can't drive. And this one right here comes from personal experience. It's a man that drives in my neighborhood. Literally, he drives 2 miles an hour up and down the street. And like one day, I was driving down Springfield. He was coming out, and I'm like 4 feet away from him. I'm blowing my horn, and he just still driving 2 miles an hour, pulling out in front of me. So when he passed by me, I kind of made a little gesture, and I went on without my day. But yeah, all I'm saying is we need to do something about that, though.
It's to protect everyone. It's just to protect everyone. Because I have a grandfather who is suffering with dementia, and my mother told me with one incident that he was at the grocery store and forgot where he was. So that's sad. And he's 82, I believe. We don't want that. We don't want you to be driving and out knowing where you're going. You think you just go on the side of the road, I don't know. Okay. This is in the discussion on this ordinance. We will go to the next one, being read by Councilwoman Watson.
Anti-sagging ordinance prohibits males or females from wearing pants that expose boxers, briefs, or gym shorts 3 inches below the hip line that show skin. No one should be subjected to this indecent act. First offense, $50. Second offense, $100. Third offense, $200.
This ordinance is open for discussion.
Now, I'm not saying I disagree with this, but I am saying, who gives us the right to tell people how to wear their clothes? That's all I have to say. I'm not saying I disagree with it, but that's all I have to say.
Councilwoman McLean.
I mean, I understand that you don't agree with it, but there is such thing as indecent exposure. When you're walking around having to hold your pants with one hand and the other one on your cell phone, it looks kind of ridiculous.
Councilman Jones.
And this is also just a form of disrespect, and it's like a direct reflection of the way that you coming up in your house. It's a direct reflection on your parents, and I personally believe that you should charge the parents and stuff for letting their kids come out like this. So every time they have to pay a fine, they'll do something about their kid coming out the house sagging and stuff. So,
Councilman Minyard.
I do agree with what both of you have to say, and I want to add to what you had to say, Councilman Jones, that it also reflects our community when they are walking around our streets like this. We don't want to look like some kind of ragtag community.
Councilwoman Harris.
What we gonna do about the children, though? Because it's not just high school or adults, it's middle school. It starts off in elementary now. So what you plan on doing with that?
Councilwoman Watson.
I feel on what you said, 10th grade and under, that's SAG. Their parents should have to pay their fine. And I'm pretty sure they would do something about it after that. 11th grade and up, if you have your own money, you have your own job, you should have to pay for it. It'll teach you discipline.
Councilwoman Ramsey.
I understand that we're fining the parents, but you can tell your child that they can't sag all day at home, but when they're not in your company, you don't know what they're doing. So how are you going to find the parents when they don't have control?
Mayor.
What happens if they don't have the money on them at that point? Do you send them to court for a trial, or?
You would send them to court for a trial, I believe. I think that would be the best thing to do. And what you said about the parents, not all 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds have a job. So if they are fined, they're responsible. I think you said 10th grade and under, but I personally think it should be younger than 18, because 18 is supposed to be the legal age. If you're younger than 18, then your parents should just have to pay for a period. If you're 18 and older, it's your responsibility. You're a legal person now. You should have to pay for this sagging. And you will go to court like a regular, offense. Mayor?
I think if it should be a choice to the parents if they want to pay it, or they could, if they don't want to pay it and the kids don't have the money to pay it, they should have the right to tell their kids to serve so many hours of community service.
Okay. Did anyone in the audience want to respond on this ordinance?
So what happens after that third offense of not following?
Well, I guess community service would be proper in that, because you can't send them to jail for a minor offense. It's just indecent exposure. So I think I would recommend community service. Is there any more discussion? We'll move to the next. Okay.
With regards to parents can't control their kids outside of their own house, how is it any different than if a 10th grader who has a driver's license and a car goes out and gets a speeding ticket? If they don't have a job, how do they pay for it? Their parents have to pay for it. It's almost the exact same thing. If somebody underage breaks the law, their parents are responsible.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote on this ordinance?
All those in favor of considering the anti-sagging ordinance at today's meeting, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Watson? Oh.
Aye.
Minyard?
Aye.
Harris? Aye. Williams?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
McLean?
Aye.
Ramsey? Aye. Motion carries to adopt.
Okay.
Well, you had a no on unanimous consent.
I had a no.
Yeah.
Who
Were you a
no?
no on unanimous consent?
Who?
Who knows?
Yes.
No.
You were not? Okay. Okay, so you just voted no on the ordinance, but you did have unanimous, everyone was in favor of considering it today? Okay. All right, just making sure.
Now, Now we have Councilwoman Ramsey read the next ordinance.
Citywide smoke-free facility. Smoking has been linked to causing cancer and other health-related illnesses. Secondhand smoke contributes to 34% of all new reported cases of lung cancer. A ban on smoking in all bars and restaurants is strongly needed. Let's do the right thing and ensure that secondhand smoke does not jeopardize the health of innocent patrons, like children, for example. If you must smoke, do it before or after you eat out. It's that simple.
This ordinance is open for discussion. I agree with this ordinance, but I don't agree on it banning in all restaurants. Well, I mean, all bars. I do believe in all restaurants and not all bars, because all bars don't have food. Most bars are for grown-ups who go and partake in drinking or pool playing or whatever grown people do in bars. So, if you, I mean, I think if they want to smoke, it's their choice to smoke, and people who know that if their bar has smoking, they should just not go if it's messing up with their allergies or their personal choice. But in all restaurants where it's food, it should be banned, because food and smoking don't go together, to me. Mingert.
Also, on the secondhand smoke, has any of y'all heard of this study done about third-hand smoke? Where the smoke gets on your clothes, and when you hold a baby up, it breathes in the smoke. It gets nicotine addiction and early lung cancer. So, I mean, really, do y'all really want to hurt these babies like this? Giving them lung cancer at such an early age? I mean, that's kind of rough, having lung cancer at 5 years old.
Okay. This is the end of discussion on this ordinance. Did any of the audience want to respond on this ordinance? Okay.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second. Vote, clerk, will you take the vote on this ordinance?
Those in favor of considering the citywide smoke-free facility ordinance at today's meeting, let it be known by saying aye. Watson? Aye. Minyard?
Aye.
Harris? Aye. Williams?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
McLean?
Aye.
Ramsey? Aye. Motion carries to adopt.
Now I have the reading of the next ordinance by Councilman Jones.
Okay, that was the first vote to consider, and then you'll need a motion and a second to adopt. Yeah, for every ordinance, you'll have two sets of votes. So does someone want to move for adoption?
I make a motion to adopt.
Oh, okay.
You voted to consider it, and then you'll need a motion to actually adopt it.
I make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay.
Motion carries to adopt.
Well,
Yeah,
then
nope.
You'll have to take your vote.
So I go again?
Yes.
Watson?
Aye.
Minyard?
Aye.
Harris? Aye. Williams?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
McLean?
Aye.
Ramsey? Aye. Now motion carries to adopt.
Now we will have the reading of the next ordinance by Councilman Jones.
Annual Youth Summit Day, a city-sponsored event that includes the mayor, council, parents, educational, and business leaders. The focus will be an engaging conversation about the economic and social issues that are of concern to the youth. It will allow these various groups to discuss ways to improve the city while addressing the issue of crime, drugs, jobs, high school dropout rate, etc. Our youth need to hear what our city and educational and business leaders expect from them, and vice versa.
This ordinance is open for discussion. Councilwoman McLean.
I agree with this ordinance because it gives our youth, with a group of their peers, to actually open up about what's going on in the community instead of just hiding things and let stuff just go unsaid.
Okay. Councilwoman Watson.
I agree with this because it would actually give the older citizens the actual opportunity to tell younger people what they expect of them, not just insinuate, not it just be insinuated.
Mingert.
Has anybody thought how y'all are going to fund this?
Harris, anybody?
I mean, are you going to get sponsorships from somebody, or are you going to use city money, or what are you going to do? What if you don't have the city money?
Technically, you can go to local churches and stuff. Some churches would be glad to do it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, even the schools could help if you really would thought about it.
Watson? I agree with this ordinance, but if we're gonna have the youth summit day and we're gonna go talk to the city council or the mayor, I don't wanna just sit there and talk and nothing happens and we just leave and it's just like a waste of time. I want a change, I want something to happen. I know it's accountability that, you know, is supposed to take place, so I would go and I would believe in this if there's something would actually come good out of it, something positive. Okay, then, Mayor.
We've had one of these before, and the turnout wasn't what we expected, so we would need something to grab their attention and to get, you know, not saying ticket sales per se, but we would need to have something that, you know, fun for them at first. That way, you know, they'll be interested.
Harris.
Instead of just having like council members or older folks, why don't we have one or two youths up there, our peers, that we can actually listen to?
That's a good idea. What in mind did you have to bring the people?
I was thinking maybe, you know, a big fish fry. So, you know, people are gonna come. This is free food, so I suggest we do something like that.
Maybe some local entertainment.
Right.
And then the city will sponsor that? Okay.
Okay.
All righty, this is the end of discussion on this ordinance. Okay, Blake.
Is the taxpayer money gonna pay for the fish fry?
How about you?
Right here, Blake. Right here.
Watson.
Since it's gonna be city funded, yes, the tax money would pay for it.
Okay, so what if it don't go into effect? Like, what if we still have teen pregnancy and all that? Like, I'm paying for people to drop out of school and get pregnant, so
That's not what you're paying for. You're paying for someone to speak and then someone to be heard.
You gotta have order in this court.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're paying for people who are gonna come speak to the teenagers and nothing changes. Is that what, any things that's gonna take on a grasp our attention and things before I just think that
Okay, Mayor.
Well, as our chair said, that's where accountability is going to come in. I mean, there's only so much we can do. We can give you insight on how to do the such and such, but that's basically on you. You know, like we can try to help and try to influence, but if you don't take it to heart, then we've tried.
Mayor.
And I mean, really, anything that's here to try to help our youth, lower a dropout rate, lower drug usage between our teenagers, I mean, really, it's worth it giving it a chance, just to help our youth, because they are the future of our community.
Okay, that's the end of the discussion on this ordinance. I make a motion to adopt this ordinance. Oh, just the wrong one, sorry. Now we have the reading of the next ordinance by Councilwoman McLean.
City-sponsored recreation center. Our youth desperately needs a full-time, safe place where they can congregate with friends on the weekend. A facility that operates weekend hours would keep many kids out of trouble. This center would provide employees and security to ensure a safe environment. The old MLK Center has been left standing vacant for years. It could serve as a perfect place for recreational fun. Let's make this possible regardless of the cost. It will pay in the long run.
This ordinance is open for discussion. Mayor.
Personally, they have rec centers open, and I'm not going to say wasting money on the MLK, but I mean that money can be spent doing something else, whereas you can either upgrade the recs that we already have, because I mean they're spread out throughout the city. So,
Councilwoman McLean. Okay, Councilwoman Watson.
Oh, okay. Okay. I feel, why open another recreational center on the north side of town where, as you already have Carver, and you have Elliott in Alabama City, you have the East Gadsden Community Center in East Gadsden. I feel that we need one on the west side of Gadsden to make everyone be able to enjoy a good time.
Mayor.
I'm sorry to having to keep bringing this back up and put a damper on things, but how are we going to afford this? With what money?
McLean.
Well, I feel that, like when we're giving out these community service hours, we could take those people and make that a community service as like a cleanup to help, you know, get it back in shape, or renovate these other community centers that we already have open, since they are in desperate need of an upgrade anyway.
Mayor?
Okay, so you can do that, but how are you going to find the money to keep it running, pay the lights, pay the water bill, pay all this stuff that you have to keep this facility going? I mean, yes, the community service thing is a good idea, don't get me wrong, but how are you going to keep it functioning after this is over with?
Ramsey?
To touch on what Councilman Minier said, I think we can get sponsors and we can get volunteers from the community to help. And this will also bring in job opportunities if we open these facilities. People will need to work, so there'll be more jobs.
Okay. Did the audience want to respond on this ordinance? Okay, this is the end of...
He keeps saying about the money, how are y'all gonna get money to pay the light bills? How are y'all gonna get money to pay the workers if y'all don't have the money to fund it to pay the light bills and the water bills? How are y'all gonna, okay, I can see volunteers, but workers that y'all hire, how are y'all gonna pay them if y'all can barely pay the lights and the water?
Mayor?
Okay, what do y'all think about, say, a grand opening? That way we can host basketball tournaments and have each team pay an entry fee. That'd be a way to raise some money. Something like that, you know, something every once in a while to keep our monetary flow going.
Harris?
Or we could just have a summer camp like Carver does. How they have the kids have to pay to go there anyways. Why not have a summer camp there to help pay for stuff?
Watson?
Or it just could be funded by the city. They do have money.
Yeah, we're not broke.
Yeah, they
With
can.
what
That's
money?
what you get tax money for. That's what tax money is for.
Tax money can't be used for everything. Tax money can only go so far.
You can put your pad down.
Ms. Casey.
Yes, Ms. Whip?
Like, ensure the safety of the kids, how you know it's not gonna turn out like another community service where, like, they're shooting dice out there and somebody's been shot? Like, how do you know, what are you gonna do to ensure the safety of the kids out there? Like, how do I know it's gonna be a safe environment since
We'll probably have an officer, probably, or a security, a higher security to be there at all times. Okay, this is the end of the discussion on this ordinance.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those, okay.
Take the vote.
All those in favor of considering the city-sponsored recreation center ordinance at today's meeting, let it be known by saying aye. Watson?
Aye.
Minier?
Aye.
Harris?
Aye.
Williams?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
McLean?
Aye.
Ramsey?
Aye.
Consent has been granted.
Okay, now, do we have any new
I
business?
make a motion to adopt.
Oh, I see.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor of adopting the city-sponsored recreation center at today's meeting, let it be known by saying aye.
Nay.
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 Nay?
Nay.
I guess nay.
Nay? Motion fails to adopt.
Okay.
Bad.
Any new business?
None.
Okay, now we have the departmental reports from Ms. Candace Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Candace Johnson, and I'm here to give you information on Parks and Recreation. In order to get a job during the summertime, you have to go to the second floor and fill out an application and turn it back in to them. And the first come, first serve. So when you fill your application out, it's better to go ahead and turn it in. And it's different jobs you have. Like for men, you can cut grass, or women, you can work at the day camps. Men can also work at the day camps, but it's better to go ahead and get your applications turned in. And it's first come, first serve. Thank you.
Okay, now we have remarks by the council, starting with Councilwoman Watson.
I just want to say thanks to the YMCA for sponsoring this day for us, to Ms. Katie for picking our group, our class group of people to come over here, and for the council members telling us how to run things and telling us how a day in the councilman's life goes. Just want to say thanks.
Ming.
I'd like to say thanks to all the city councilmen. I know from me personally, when I was upstairs talking with them, they all calmed my nerves pretty good about this. You know, I felt more calm about it. And thanks to the YMCA for sponsoring this. This couldn't have been possible without them. And again, the utmost regards to Miss Katie. None of this could have even been possible if she wouldn't even have asked to sponsor. Well, what's the word I'm looking for? Be the backbone about it.
Ms. Harris.
I would like to first thank the YMCA, of course, for allowing us to have Youth and Government Day. Thank Ms. Katie for choosing our group of class to go. Thank you for the opportunity to sit upon y'all today. Yeah.
I want to thank the YMCA for allowing this to happen. I want to thank Ms. Katie for believing in me, because I think she doubted me this whole month of appointing me as council president. I thank you for allowing me to carry this on, and I thank everybody that came, and I did have fun. I doubted it at first, but I had a lot of fun. So, thank you, everybody. Councilman Jones.
Hey, how y'all doing? First off, I would like to thank Mr. Falcon and the YMCA. I'd like to thank Ms. Nelson, the rest of the city officials, the council, Ms. Katie, it's outside, Thank you for the opportunity, for allowing us to just come up here and be the council for today. I'd like to thank y'all, love y'all. I'm glad to have served this little council with y'all. Yeah, y'all know.
McLean.
I'd like to thank the YMCA for making this day possible, and all the council members and city officials. I had a lot of fun, and I got a lot of insight. And also Miss Katie, I know she's very patient with us. And also for the breakfast and the lunch. And the cheesy macaroni, Miss Katie.
It's wonderful. Ms. Ramsey.
I'd like to thank the YMCA, the councilman, the mayor, Miss Katie, the city clerk, Miss Nielsen. It's been a great experience and a great opportunity. I enjoyed it, and just thanks.
The clerk, did you want to say anything?
I'd like to thank the Y for sponsoring this event. We all really appreciate it. I'd like to thank Ms. Nelson for giving me some of her time today and showing me around, and the council for giving us some of their time, and for the good breakfast and the good lunch, and Miss Katie for bringing us here. And thank y'all.
Mayor.
I'd like to thank the council and the mayor for sharing their time and giving us the knowledge that they did. I'd like to thank Miss Katie, the YMCA. It was fun. It was entertaining. Thank you.
Well, there's nothing else to say and no other business. This meeting is adjourned.
I want to thank everyone who's sitting up here on this upper level, and I think once you get up here, things look so different from this perspective as opposed to sitting in the audience looking up here. I think you can all attest to that after having your council meeting. But I want to really commend all of you. Your items that you presented for discussion today were very good. I could see a lot of thought, a lot of effort, and a lot of time that went into the items that you selected, and your research that you did, your discussion that you had in support of the items that you liked, and your objections to the ones that you didn't. So you're very much to be commended. Want to just thank everyone for being here and participating. Wanted to give one final opportunity to any council members who would like to say anything. I know Councilman Avery would like to make a few remarks, and we've got just a couple of minutes here before we have to adjourn, so.
Again, good afternoon. Let me say this, even though they had a lot of fun, as a council member for the last however many hundred years, we do listen. And I want to get a copy of several of these resolutions. As a matter of fact, if I can get a copy of all of them, you'd be surprised at the number of things that we have done as a result of Youth in Government Day. Y'all took on some controversial issues that I know the council probably wouldn't want to attack, particularly since you're talking about taking on 65-year-olds. Old folks vote. Y'all young folks don't go to the polls. That's why y'all got a curfew and the old folks don't. No. But seriously though, we would like to, again, commend you, like I would like to commend you guys, because you took on some very good issues. I know one or two of those things that you all talked about, we're discussing now. And so hopefully, in the near future, you might hear something from the city council dealing with some of those very issues that you just brought up. And again, I just want to commend you all for your fine work and your due diligence in looking those things up. Thank you.
Would any of the other city council members like to say anything? Okay, here they come. And I want to give Mr. Blackwell an opportunity too before we adjourn.
Not as easy as it looks.
No.
But you did a great job. I'll be brief, and I get in trouble with my kids because everything's a teachable moment. But so everything's a teachable moment today. One thing to remember when you're conducting an orderly meeting is that as the president, you got to make sure to maintain order. You did a good job of that today, so I appreciate that. Use your attorneys where you can, because that's why they get paid to get big bucks. Always use the attorneys where you can. But you guys did a great job. It's not easy standing up there. And I do appreciate again Ms. Katie for what she does each year in bringing kids up and allowing them to participate in this process. The youth summit idea, we tried that last year, and I think we made some progress, had some decent turnout, but we listened today, and we'll incorporate some of the things we've heard today and trying to do that again next year, or actually this year. So, don't always remember that you put those folks in office up there. You put those folks in office, those of you who are old enough to vote, you put those folks in office. So at some level, it's their responsibility to listen to you and carry out what you put them in office to do. Don't you let them forget that. All right, as elected officials, it's your responsibility to make sure that they don't forget that. But again, you guys did a great job, and wanted to commend you all for what you did today.
Thank you once again. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Adam, for doing such a wonderful job with kids. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate all of you all today. And it sounds like y'all been sitting some of our pre-council meetings with these ideas that you have, because you're talking about the same exact things that we had in mind. And over a short period of time, we've gone more interested in all of these issues, and bring them to pass. But you have some good ideas, and thank you all. And I also like to say decorum, in the council meeting is very important. And you certainly had your gavel in hand. And you did have one thing different. You invited audience participation, which you do that, and you recognize a person here, but nobody in the audience here has any right to stand up and address you or anybody else unless you recognize them. And in most council meetings, you won't recognize participation unless they've been put on the agenda before the schedule. So you did a good job of handling the people here, because I would have been called security. Y'all are good, and we appreciate you. And like I said, you listened to us this morning, you asked questions, and we look forward to some of y'all taking your actual places up here in the future. Thank you all and good luck.
I'll say I'm proud of you guys as well, and you know that. And I always tell you that all the time, and you three are fortunate because I was doing all I could with Blake in the back, try to find some way to make one of you talk somehow. It's not to think of, I tell Blake, say this, say that, just see if one of you, get the microphone in front of you anyway. I'm proud of you. I say this all the time, I put my kids up against anybody's, and you are my kids, all day long. You know, I will say that I think we have the best band in the state, academics that people I don't think can touch us, but I will say this, I don't have the power to do proclamations, but I do think, and of course somebody says biased, but I think I have the best teacher in the state. I would put her up against anyone. And thank you, council. Thank you guys as well. So, good job, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Well, we've come to the end of the day, and we certainly enjoyed hosting you here with the City of Gadsden, and I hope that your interest in city government will continue even after you leave high school and as you go through your whatever walk of life that you choose for yourself. And all the student, youth and government participants, before you leave, see Mr. Avery over here. On behalf of the council, we wanted you to have a memento from the day, so there's a bag with a few little goodies inside for you. Thank you again.
The meeting has been over. Mr. President.